So, The Lion King is often touted as one of the greatest animation movies of all time. The scenery is exquisite, the music is amazing, the story is flawless. But one common criticism I hear is, now spoilers here for a 25-year-old movie, is there's a really swift change in the environment from when the hyenas are allowed to enter the Pride Lands because, well, because Mufasa dies.
Dad?
But as soon as Simba returns, almost like magic, everything returns back to its natural state. Is this just visual storytelling? Is it just there to be like, hyenas bad, lions good? Or is there some scientific reason why that might actually happen? In this episode of Science with Steph, I'm going to investigate if lions are actually part of the circle of life. African lions, like my boy Simba, are what's known as a keystone species. This is an ecological term for when the relative abundance of a species has a disproportionately large effect on its natural environment. It's like a keystone in a bridge. While every other brick might help build up the size of the walls, without the keystone, the whole bridge would collapse. Some people say that this analogy is a huge oversimplification of a really complex system, and it is. But identifying key species in trophic pyramids and the effect that they can have on the environment is a really important step in kind of modelling the complexities of that environment and helps us build more biodiverse, better balanced environments naturally. So if we were to hypothesize what kind of effect lions would have as a keystone species, is the effect that they have on their prey. Lions hunt both migrating and sedentary prey, helping large areas of the grassland replenish while the grazers move on. This leaves large areas of grassland ready to replenish when the grazers aren't there, and lions leave plenty of bones and carrion for smaller scavengers to eat and be fed. Herd control and vegetation growth help the land to survive the seasons. Thriving vegetation help trap the water and keep it moist during the dry season, and help prevent flooding during the wet season. So as a keystone species, even a slight difference in the number of lions could have far-reaching effects on the entire ecosystem. But I've been talking kind of hypothetically and using broad examples. Does this actually happen in real life? Well, yes. One of the most well-documented cases of an apex predator and their effect on the ecosystem is the case of the wolves of Yellowstone National Park. For decades in the 1800s and early 1900s, wolves were hunted to basically extinction in Yellowstone. This is because wolves were seen as an utter menace to the local population of people and to farmers and wildlife.
He's a criminal, that's who he is. A vigilante. A public menace.
The last wolf was gone in 1926, and less than a decade after that, we saw a huge change in the environment. The population of grazers like buffalo and deer skyrocketed, absolutely devastating parts of the wildlife with overgrazing. This had an effect on smaller animals and mammals, even affecting everything down to the number of fish in the water, because there weren't any beavers making dams in the water to create pools and safe environments for fish. Removing just one keystone species, the wolf, had effects everything from huge, gigantic buffalo right down to algae. After decades of environmental planning and different types of propositions, wolves were reintroduced into Yellowstone National Park, and within 5 years the populations of beavers increased, and within 10 years the entire landscape had changed. We have a very similar problem closer to home. In Scotland, we don't have any wolves left in the Highlands, and as such, deer population are running wild, destroying natural habitats for other types of creatures. And even with a lot of population control through hunting, there's just no way that we can control the migration patterns of deer in the same way that wolves do. There have been multiple attempts of trying to reinstate wolves into the Scottish Highlands, but no success so far. So what about the Lion King? Are lions really such an important part of the circle of life? What difference would it make if lions or hyenas were at the top of the food chain? Mufasa and his pride ruled over a territory called the Pride Lands. Typical territory sizes for lions are around 200 square kilometres, So when Mufasa says,
Everything the light touches is our kingdom.
he's not just a greedy territory-grabbing tyrant. It's actually on par with real-life territory sizes for lions in sub-Saharan Africa. Now, lions and hyenas don't often let their territories mix. This is because their diets are largely overlapping. About 60 to 70% of what they eat is exactly the same. When there are territory disputes between lions and hyenas, lions often win, unless hyenas outnumber lions about 4 to 1. These disputes help keep predator numbers in check and also make sure that local grazers are not being too sedentary and move from place to place. The problem with what Scar did is let too many hyenas into the Pride Lands, which was more than the environment could provide for. Hyenas are some of the most efficient carnivores out there, eating everything from the flesh to the bones, even the skin.
Happy Earth Day, everyone. I'm Recyclops. Did you know that an old milk carton can be sawed in half and used as a planter?
Recyclops destroy!
So when hyena populations boom, they leave no leftover meat for any of the other carnivores, big or small. This sets everything out of balance. Without some of your larger grazers like zebra and wildebeest, huge areas of the land grow to abundance and then die and then rot. This means without any sort of pollinated vegetation, that doesn't even grow and protect the environment from droughts and floods in the way that a healthy ecosystem would. And because of this imbalance, the vegetation would struggle to grow the next year and not protect the land from droughts and floods. It is really hard to know exactly what would happen without the lions in the Pride Lands, but because they are a keystone predator, it's safe to say that the land would look vastly different. Maybe it is better that Simba stepped up and took his place in the circle of life. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Science with Steph. I hope you also like my new setup. If you do, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you haven't seen this channel before, then I provide scientific content about pop culture, Disney, games, so check it out by clicking the subscribe button. And in the meantime, if you want to watch my last episode, you can click here, or if you want to watch the video that the YouTube algorithm thinks you'll enjoy best, you can click down here. Alright, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye! Everything the light touches is our kingdom.